somehow nobody is talking about it. It is legally wrong. It is morally wrong. So, as far as I'm concerned, the DPP's call is a very solid one. We must support that position. That they must take the necessary steps, and they have the time. You see, they have the time, and then there's the support. So what they should do is immediately set out the time to sort it out. If when you go to the polling stations, a lot of people are kind of identify who the strange people are, and the EC is supposed to have, by its former, possible means of identify how you registered. That is why they ask you to go and bring guarantors. Otherwise, you go and bring something else to identify yourself, like your passport. In the same way, we were able to ask people to bring their NHIS cards to use to justify. It has been cancelled by the Supreme Court, so it should not be difficult. There are a lot of graduate unemployed people who can go and sit in their rooms and do this thing. And the government can find that money. After all, they've been giving money away to people who don't deserve it. Why can't they give it to some people who deserve it so they clean the register? It's possible.
Okay, and I'm grateful. Can you hold the line? The issue is that the PPP's issue is right. They want to use every legal means to stop the election if the names are deleted.
The point is that EC had made a stand that it is not going to delete names of those who have already registered with NHI. If you have a problem, go to the legal process and address it. People give different interpretation. This give that, and the ECG with their lawyer have studied it and come up with their final stand. If you want to challenge it, go to the legal. Go back to Supreme Court to reinterpret what it has ruled. Because as far as I know, ECG is independent.
You're talking about EC.
EC is independent and cannot be controlled by any authority. You can give guidelines, but it was worked within the mandate given it by the Constitution and the various CIs that goes into operationalize whatever is mandated in the Constitution.
Isn't the court ruling clear that the EC should go ahead and delete the names? Because this is an issue we have.
That is an issue. These people said this and that said this. The EC had made a stand. If you are not comfortable, you go back to the Supreme Court.
So the PPP isn't wrong after all.
They should go to the Supreme Court to get it cleared. Either the Supreme Court can direct them. This is how we want you to delete the names. And therefore, we are giving you this set of rules. To do it, PPP should seek the legal redress to that. But as far as I'm concerned, EC has made their stand, and that is what they will be working on. If we only want to seek public court of public opinion, that is it. But EC has stated their stand, and they will go ahead with it.
Let me put this question to Nana, and then we'll see where. Nana, if you can hear me, some have raised the concerns that this back and forth about the court ruling and the fact that EC is to delete the names, and the EC says, well, the process has started, and that come and challenge and all that. It looks like it is only the lawyers who are winning this case.
You see, I find it strange that the Honorable Member Mutawa is saying what he's saying. When you represent the people, you speak on behalf of the people. If you don't speak on behalf of the EC, what has been said, and you are saying that the EC takes its mandate from the Constitution. All of us, it is because of all of us Ghanaians that the Constitution exists. And it is out of that the EC is giving directives. And it is out of that same Constitution that we have all collectively decided that the one body that when it speaks about the Constitution is final, Supreme Court. Now, after that, the Supreme Court, through the Constitution, can tell the EC what to do. Now, the Honorable is telling us that nobody can tell the EC what to do. It is not true. The Supreme Court has taken a decision that requires the Electoral Commission to do X, Y, Z. The Electoral Commission is bound by that decision to do X, Y, Z. That decision is not in the belly of the EC to pick and choose which aspects fit. You see, what it is, and it is also sad that the honorable member representing Ghanaians in Parliament thinks that if anybody was there, they should go back to the he doesn't want to represent us. Why? Is that the process you want us to go through? Why? What is the justification for it? There is only one directive, and it is clear. It is very clear. Everybody except the NDC leadership and the EC think differently. It is amazing. It is amazing. We are talking about the rights and responsibilities of Ghanaians. We're talking about the destiny of Ghana. We're talking about ensuring that our democracy is properly institutionalized and established. The processes that lead to it, so that you can go and vote freely and fairly without fear of any mistakes. And somehow, the Honorable is telling us that this process, oh no, it is the EC who should decide. No, that is why they come to him and his colleagues in Parliament to ratify the things that they suggest should become law. Otherwise, why? They could sit in their room and do it. They come to Parliament for a reason, because Parliament represents Ghanaians. So how is it that suddenly now parliamentarian is saying that no, the EC can do it like no, it cannot. The PPP
all right. Just hold on. Just hold on.
My brother floats. Do you know why? When he speaks that like see all Ghanaians take his views. First of all, let's start. New register, they made it clear to all of us that that is what Ghanaians want. And when they set up the committee, you could know the match, various who have applied currently. 2, Supreme Court has given a ruling. You have read it differently. Several lawyers have also read it differently. EC has also read the judgment. And they feel that this is the way they feel
this is what the judgment says.
Judgment is, and you think that they are wrong. And therefore, you are representing Ghanaians. Please, we must be careful to making a statement to generalize it, like when you say that is what Ghanaians want. 2, I made it a statement that in respect to the Constitution and the CIs that are passed, operationalizing the Constitution, you should be very clear with what I'm saying. The EC operates with laws. If they want to delete, then Supreme Court must give them the way,
the direction,
the
how
direction
to do the
do it. Because per the legal and the necessary laws with EC, they are supposed to exhibit it. And they will follow those due processes to execute it. So therefore, if the Supreme Court actually wants, PPP should go back there for proper interpretation
as to how
it should go. So nobody should think that what I feel, everybody must feel same. We must be very careful. If I have my view and I'm expressing it, I don't conclude that that is what all Ghanaians want. We have several situations where we do it as if it's the whole of Ghana. And when they invited, it showed clearly. Law can be interpreted differently. That is why there is a ruling and the next time it's overruled. So if he is telling us that EC do not have lawyers to interpret the Supreme Court, he should state it. Because I believe that EC has lawyers who have stated the ruling and advised EC.
Okay.
And nobody should conclude that that is what he is saying is what Ghanaians want. No.
So now let me give you the final word on this one, and then we'll move to another issue this morning.
I'm disappointed and surprised. First of all, I'm not claiming that Ghanaians feel that way for nothing. Why? The PPP is a political party. It has a support base. The NPP is a political party. It has a support base. The CPP is a political party. It has a support base. The PNC, same. So on what basis is the Honorable speaking? Because I suppose that he's also representing the NDC, which has a political support base. And now I'm saying that the majority of Ghanaians, which therefore makes it the totality of Ghanaians, because
the majority rule. What scientific studies have you carried out?
Says that what the Supreme Court has said is final. I'm also surprised that the MP is not recognizing that the Supreme Court has earlier ruled that the use of NHIS cards are illegal. If I'm wrong, correct me. Therefore, then it now says that the
majority of Ghana, what scientific study has it done? You see, they have some generalization. What he feels, that's majority of Ghana. What scientific study have they done? I always deal with scientific state. Somebody comes out, we have carried out this, and majority of Ghanaians there, you don't have any facts, and you come out. The second one is that if the Supreme Court ruled that NHIA could not be used to register limited registration, he should refer to Nana Akufo-Addo case Chachu when the law was passed. By the time the law was passed, the act had been committed. And in his defense, he said the act was committed in and around February. What did the judge said? Law is no retrospective. And it was thrown out. And that was the second defeat he had, Nana Akufo-Addo, when he was at. So we should be very clear that if the Supreme Court says you cannot route NHIA to register, doesn't mean that it has totally already cancelled those who have registered, because a law was passed and those people registered legally.
Did not err in using that.
They did not err in the course of that.
Concern.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just referring a few things. And if EC has studied it and realized that, hey, this is what we are going to do, if the Supreme Court feels that EC is not implementing what they have directed, I think the Supreme Court will take action. So you shouldn't come and tell us what should be done.
All right, Honorable Mutawakil, I'm grateful for your time this morning. But, Nana, quickly, let's jump on to our last issue for this morning. And quickly, just this story is captured on about 3 newspapers. John Payne's arrested for assaulting police officer. The Ghanaian Times also captures it, as well as the Daily Graphic. We're told he's appearing in court today for assault and then stealing wife's car. These are allegations. Honorable, let me begin with you. Public figures and perhaps the way they relate to police officers, security agencies, sometimes some of them seem to feel that they should not be treated the way they are being treated.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very sad story, and the way the facts are, I think that he should have been able to control himself.
We're told he assaulted the officer who wanted to just take a statement.
Yeah, so your wife reported you, and during the interrogation, that is their responsibility.
Right.
Once a complaint is made,
it's a
they are
procedure.
supposed to make a process, supposed to go through a certain process. Even if you get angry, you shouldn't punch, because they are not those who have come to complain. Even the one who has complained, you have no right to punch. It's to make your case clear and let them understand your view, and therefore be able to know the processes it will take. It's a sad story, and but the law should take its course. Yeah, that's why the laws are there.
All right. Nana, I'm sure this story is indeed a sad one. A former Black Star player there supposed to appear before in court. But the issue is about the ability of these celebrities to control their anger in such situations.
But on these things, from a PR perspective, that's my background.
Yes.
Profession. From that perspective, we have a fundamental problem in Ghana with keeping people informed about what the laws are, how we're supposed to report ourselves, what the structures are supposed to do. We don't do very well with that. And part of the reason is that the NCC, for example, is not very well fueled. We don't empower it enough to come out with these things. Our educational system, nowadays is in total tatters thanks to a certain style of governance we're experiencing these days. But that has not been very good at keeping our young people abreast with the kinds of things that they should know coming into the world. So all those things put together lead us into a situation like this. I do not see why, for example, police officers should necessarily give preferences and preferential treatment to people for doing the wrong thing. It doesn't help our system. You know what I'm saying? So that's one. And then out of that, people also should not think that because they've acquired certain positions, therefore they are beyond the laws. It is also something that has to be fixed. So when you put all that together, we have a problem. I'm sorry that a gentleman like John Payne has gotten in trouble. Average should comport himself. But you see, it also comes, we must readily agree, it also comes out of how even leadership treats the law. I recall and you might call this politics, but it is also a matter of fact. When Mr. Kobi Asampon, then Deputy Minister of Interior, virtually verbally assaulted a police officer when the police officer stopped him for overspeeding and in a dangerous manner. You recall that situation. Somehow it got swept under the carpet, and the policeman is the one who virtually was in trouble. How is that the case? How is that the case? You know, so when we do that, then it serves the rest of the public a certain image that, well, we too, like I hear there's a joke that used to be in Nigeria, when you talk about coups and things like that, the soldiers would say, I'm waiting my turn. It's as if everybody is waiting for their turn. Now get the opportunity to do, because once they are powerful, they can assert that. So it becomes on all of us, in one form or the other, to keep this kind of mentality running, that we must appreciate our laws and what the institutions like the police are supposed to do for us.
All right. Let's wrap up on that one. But quickly, the Ghanaian Times front page story, the Minister of Education were told advocating a review of the protocol system on admission into senior high schools. Just a brief of that story. Now, the minister is asking for a review of the protocol admission to senior high schools through the CSSPS. Now, this, she said, is to check abuses and make it more beneficial to underprivileged students. Now, she said there should be a limit as to who should benefit, with very clear explanations on how they should benefit, adding that the protocol system should be opened to underprivileged students and not to those from rich and prominent homes in the cities. Now, she goes on to say that the system should be reviewed thoroughly with strict description as to whom and how people should be categorized under the protocol list to check abuses in the system. Now, she was speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Accra on reviewing the CSSPS. Now, again, let me start from you before I come to Honorable in the studio. Now, I was thinking that she, as the minister, will begin the process, but she is asking for a review of the system. Is it indeed the case that she should be calling for review, or she should initiate the process?
It's a very good question you're asking me. I mean, exactly what are our brothers and sisters doing, and our mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles, what are they doing in government? These are things that if you decide on, you take action on. This is not a debate matter. As a person, and I haven't conferred with the leadership of the NPP to hear our position on this matter, but as a person, I really have a problem with this protocol system. Because if we're saying that we must provide equal opportunity for all students, and the students who get in in a qualified manner, and there are seats available, spaces available, why do you now leave it for somebody else to come and take, and probably the person is not qualified? So why are we running the system? Maybe it should be looked at, but when the minister speaks, it should be more assertive and confirming, on this matter. I mean, the educational system as a whole is in serious trouble. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, my brother, that things are not going well. And so now you have to have a certain amount of money so that your children could go to certain schools before they get a good education. When we know that you're supposed to try and fix the educational system so that people can go to school for free and have access to good education at the same time. It hasn't happened over the last 8 years. Now look at what is happening. But I think that the pertinent matter is that, personally, I find it strange that the minister, if she has found something wrong, she should give clear policy directives or suggest it to the cabinet and get it dealt with. And if she, I'd have thought that the minute she recognized that there's a problem, she would confer with all who matter on this matter, and then we hear something firm. Because, I mean, the truth, like I said, is that I personally think that the protocol system is wrong. So that's my take.
I'm grateful. Honorable, so checking abuses is good, but I am thinking that the minister should begin the process instead of advocating that it should be done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the computer placement system was to reduce abuse.
Right.
Whereby your marks or the average of certain marks will qualify you automatically to a certain school of your choice.
Right.
Because at the first instance, you choose a school. The school has certain level of marks you should get, and then automatically the system will sort out and then post. But as it is operated by human beings, and when there are abuses, you need to review, even if not periodically. You need to review it.
The protocol system where people can go outside the computer system to get their wards admitted.
Yeah, that is why. Okay. That is why there is the need to review.
All right.
Every system and see where are the lapses. Why is it that in this school people are able to go? Is it that they don't give the required number of people they need? What are the mechanisms we put in place? And that is why every time you look at it in a review, in a manner, you need to do some consultations. And when you do certain consultations, it might give you more in-depth knowledge about the various abuses that exist, so that you can comprehensively put all of them together to resolve the problem. And I think that is what he's doing. He met some people and indicated, I'm sure that they have contributed other ways to make it, put some few inputs together for him to implement a comprehensive one at least, but to be able to take
let me pick your views on this protocol system where people can't get the awards in the schools without necessarily getting the required mark, or because the headmaster is a friend of Honorable Adam Mutawakilu, he gets his ward in the school. What is your view on it?
I think that whatever it is, once it is a public school, government pays feeding grants to some level, or government provides support to those public institutions. So what I think should happen is that if a school A asks that they need 800 students, and through the computer placement system, 800 students goes there, there must be a monitor to ensure that those 800 students are those in the school. When we open, the schools will intentionally give a lower figure. Even though the capacity is 800, they will ask for 600. Then, per that input, 600 will be sent there. Then they have the opportunity to add more 200. So I think that we should make sure that, because when the 200 is added and government is providing support, instead of providing support for 600, automatically he will provide support for 800 students. So I think that we should go the extra mile to ensure that whatever number the schools submit to the government for the computer placement system should be adhered to strictly.
I'm grateful for your time this morning.